Bueno, buenos días, bienvenidos al ciclo de charlas internacionales de la Feria de Movilidad Académica 2022, organizada por la Dirección de Internacionalización de la Universidad de los Andes. Esta charla será presentada en inglés por nuestro socio de la Universidad de Durham. Y pues la idea es que si tienen algún tipo de pregunta o comentario, lo hagan en inglés. Entonces, pues nada, ya vamos a dar inicio a la presentación. I would like to welcome everybody to the international talk session organized by the Office of International Affairs. It's part of the academic fair of this year. And right now we have the University of Durham. We have Simon Litchfield, who is going to help us with further information about Durham University. And Simon, thank you very much. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, if I could, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It gives me great pleasure to welcome students to Durham University. What I'll do is I'll share my screen if I quickly could. So hopefully you'll see the incoming exchange presentation appear on screen now. So whilst I get it to work, excellent. So when students get off the train or first arrive in Durham, what they get greeted by is this kind of beautiful site of the UNESCO Heritage Site. And Durham University, we know that we're not the capital city of the UK. We know that you might not have heard of this before. And we're based in the northeast of England. We're about 2.5 hours away from from Edinburgh, about 2 to 2.5 hours away from London on the train. But we're a really old university. It's about 189, 200 years old. We're set in the heart of a UNESCO Heritage Site. We've got about 20,000 students, and we welcome about 400 exchange students each year. But our unique selling point is that we're not a capital city. When you come here, you won't just be a tourist. We really want you to belong somewhere, to get a really great taste of what it's like to be in Britain and be part of Britain. So of course, we've got all the academic facilities that you'd come to expect. We've got 27 departments across 4 faculties, so there really is a wide spread of departments and disciplines that you can study at. The only exception is medicine, because we don't have a medical hospital. We're a top 100 worldwide university and top 10 in the UK, and we've got the Teaching Gold Award. So, this kind of is an indication that we're a quality university. But one of our really special things is that we are a college university. And colleges, when I first started working here, I thought, well, they're just halls of residence where students live. But I've come to realise that they're so much more. First of all, they are, of course, the accommodation where exchange students will come and live, but they're more than that. Each college organises sports, clubs, societies and associations. They organise lots of events and activities to make sure that students are embedded within the university. There is a common room, or many common rooms for students to hang out in. There are reps to help students who arrived get integrated into college life. And more than that, they are also dedicated staff for support. So in terms of your pastoral support, in terms of your welfare support, and in terms of academic support. And this picture is a picture of our oldest college. This castle was built in 1042 and students still live there. And so this is what I mean. When you come to Durham, you'll get a much deeper experience of life of the UK. You won't just be a tourist. We also want students to feel supported. We want you to be at home in Durham. We want you to be confident in who you are and who you want to be. So we've got central support services like disability support, chaplaincy and faith, diversity inclusion. In college, as I mentioned, you get pastoral and mentoring support. Each department has a departmental exchange coordinator, and of course there's student-led support. And finally, of course, there's an international welcome, an induction week, and a student wellbeing programme. And we realise that life's not all just about academic work. We're actually a sporting centre. We're the biggest team sport university in the UK, and 75% of our students are engaged with sport. So we've got college sport, which is one of each of the 17 colleges can compete against each other. And then there's university sport, where there's clubs which are just for the university as a whole. But obviously not everyone loves sport. I mean, admittedly, one thing that you can just do, Durham has a beautiful river running through it, and you can go on beautiful walks through Durham as well. But Durham's also a cultural centre, so we've got things like the Lumiere Festival. Here we can see the cathedral lit up during that. There's a book festival, we have an Oriental Museum, we've got Botanic Gardens as part of the university, and there's a jazz festival. So over 85% of our students are involved with some sort of organised sport or activity or something like that. And then one of the other unique selling points is we are, as I mentioned at the start, we're a 189 or 200-year-old university. We have traditions. This is genuinely a picture of one of the dining halls where students get to eat every day. And so when I say welcome to Hogwarts, it is this magical experience. And so, as I said, we're not the capital city, but we don't try to be, we don't need to be. We have some really, truly magical experiences. And so one of the traditions is once a month, every college will hold a formal where students get dressed up in gowns and they have a formal meal together in surroundings like this. So in terms of the nitty gritty and the need to know, we offer full year exchanges. And the reason for that is we don't have semesters like most universities. What you'll do is you'll typically study 6 modules from up to 3 departments, and that adds up to 120 credits per year. So most modules are about 20 credits, and the modules can be found on our website. For our non-English partner universities, so presumably like yourselves, there is an IELTS requirement of 6.5 to come in. I think that's to do with visas. And of course, in terms of costs, you pay 0 tuition fees to Durham. And not only that, one thing to consider is the northeast of England is the cheapest part of England to live in. So again, we're not saying we're a capital city where you might struggle to find accommodation. The northeast of England is the cheapest part. So our dates is the nomination deadline from university to university is around the end of February. You'll then do an application, which is around the 31st of March, and then term starts at the 1st of October. Just a little bit more general information. There is an international airport close to Durham. That's Newcastle International Airport. We have a meet and greet on the first term, so that we can pick you up from the airport and bring you to Durham. But it's also very possible to get to Durham by public transport from the airport. In terms of getting around Durham, Durham is really small but perfectly formed. It's possible to walk between most locations, with most colleges being no more than 15 minutes walk along the library. But as I said, in the middle of Durham, there's this beautiful river that runs all the way through it. So it's a really kind of lovely place to get around. And I've already mentioned the traditions, but on top of that, there are things like mini festivals and college days and all sorts of things that are arranged throughout the year. So you got your chance to speak to me today, but if you are interested, I would really encourage you to check out our web pages, which is durham.ac.uk global-durham /global-opportunities /incoming-opportunities. I'll make sure that these slides are shared with you, so you can kind of refer to them afterwards. On that page, you'll have links to a 360-degree tour, so you can have a bit of an explore of the university and the city. There's a YouTube channel that has an international welcome made by and narrated by an international student from their perspective. There's an Instagram account called The Durham Student, which is run by students for students. So you'll get a kind of a flavour of kind of what university life is like here. And if you've got any questions, please email us at incoming.exchange@durham.ac.uk. So I think that concludes my presentation, but what I'd welcome, if any of the students have any questions for me, it'd be lovely to talk to you about them.
Well, Simon, thank you very much. It was a fantastic presentation. The Hogwarts thing is amazing. That's a pretty nice place to visit. I don't know if any of the students has any questions. I could open their mics if there is a question. Well, while they think in questions, I was wondering if you could accept the students with IELTS or TOEFL test older than 2 years, or if it's mandatory for them to
I think it's mandatory that it's within the last 2 years. And I think that's the case for most universities
Okay.
because the background behind that is each university gets given a license by the government to be allowed to recruit international students. And I think often there is rules within that license about how old the qualification has to be. And so for Durham, I think it's 2 years, and I think that will be the case for most UK universities.
Okay, perfect. And it's also related to the visa, right? Because if they are traveling for more than 6 months, they will have to apply for a different type of visa.
Yeah, that's right. And so my incoming exchange coordinator can assist with that. We are able to issue what's known as a CAS letter, which is the certificate of sponsorship, to be able to help get that visa as well.
Perfect. And another common questions among our students is the average cost of living. I know that you show an amount in the presentation, but like an average, how much per month would be
Okay.
a reasonable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, the cheapest accommodation is about £7,600 per year, but that's inclusive of food. So that's 3 meals a day, Saturdays and Sundays inclusive. Um, I think there is a bit more information on the website, but aside from that, it will then depend on, most resources in terms of your books and stuff like that. Most students find that increasingly they're available online or from the library, so it depends how much stuff you want to buy. Then in terms of things like in terms of going out, you might want to spend £30 each time that you go out, depending on how much or how little you want to drink, how hard you decide to party. But I think the main cost, of course, is going to be accommodation in any university town and your food on top of that. But as I say, there are cheaper options available if you go self-catering and things like that, but it's about £7,600.
Okay, perfect. Another thing that is important for our students is that most of the students here at Uniandes, they take two major programs, and sometimes they are not related at all. For instance, I don't know, mechanical engineering and philosophy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it possible for this type of students to take courses in two different areas of knowledge?
So what we ask students to do is they pick a main department, and so 50% of the modules will be in that main department, and then they can choose the other 50% from two other departments. So that does give you the option of having a bit of a kind of split program to make sure you can kind of choose elective modules.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's very helpful. So I don't know if any of the students have questions. If not, I think we could finish the session. Simon, thank you very, very much for this presentation. We really hope to send some good students next fall, and also we hope to receive students from Durham
Yeah,
next
I'd
semester.
say
Well, next year.
on a final just note to all of your students, we would love to have you here, but more than that, I went to year abroad myself. It changed my life in so many ways. And therefore, what I would say is, even if you don't come to Durham, do consider a year abroad because because you'll meet people, it will change how you think. And I look at the challenges around the world that we have in terms of climate change, war in Russia and Ukraine and things like that. So the more students that take a year abroad, the absolute better. So make a decision about what is right for you. Don't be swayed because, I've showed some pretty pictures of Hogwarts, and really enjoy your year abroad if you do go on them.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much, and have a great day, a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye now.
Bye bye, Simon.